All right, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Today, what I want to talk about is actually a successful mindset as a real estate agent and really with anything that we're trying to do, whether it's investing, whether it's something outside of real estate, but something that has been 100% applicable in real estate and in every other aspect of my life. I'd really like for this to be interactive. So please, if you want to touch on whatever point we're talking about in here, or if you have questions, or if you want to share some of your experience, please do so, and just unmute yourself and hop in, and everybody else will go on mute, and we will we'll get you to share on what we're talking about. But I think that this will be much more interesting and much more. It'll be better if everybody is engaged and contributing to this. So that's what we're going to talk about today: is successful mindsets as a real estate agent and whatever else we're trying to do. And so what I'd like to do is open it up right now. And for whoever has something to say on this, the question I have is, what initially comes to mind when you hear a successful mindset as a real estate agent?
To me,
Somebody,
just a positive attitude.
Sorry, go ahead, Mario. What'd you say?
A positive attitude.
Okay, positive attitude.
to me, it's someone who's working on his skills, whether they're specialized knowledge, marketing, sales, but he or she is constantly improving on those skills.
Gotcha. Thank you, Gustavo.
Yeah, I'd say, Matt talks about it a lot. It's just really just being consistent with whatever you do.
Okay, consistency. So we got positive attitude. We've got constantly growing and working on skills. We got consistency. What else comes to mind?
Not set it's Rick, not setting any limits on the possibilities in your life, not believing that you only can only do this, but if success were inevitable, what would you do?
Got it. No limits. What else you guys got?
I think being proactive about looking for leads constantly, and like Christian said, being consistent, not just kind of waiting for leads to come in.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. Constantly looking for leads.
Being focused on the process, being focused on doing all the work and not worrying about, if it's going to ever come to fruition. Very rarely in my life have I ever gone and done action in the world and then there wasn't a response. I think that's like some sort of like Newton's law or something. Like if you push on something, equal and opposite reaction. Like if you do stuff, then there's always going to be a result.
Boom. Okay, let's stop there for right now, because all you guys who touched on who touched on positive attitude, skills, consistency, no limits, always constantly looking for leads, and focusing on the process is everything that I wanted to touch on today. So y'all pretty much mentioned every bullet point. And so as we go through these, I'd really like for everybody who spoke up to kind of share your experience. I can share mine, y'all can share yours, and hopefully we can all grow here together and learn from each other about what it takes to be a successful real estate agent. And so Mario started off first with positive attitude. And this has been in whatever I'm doing, but definitely going into sales, whether I'm going to pitch somebody, whether I'm going into negotiations, whether I am cold calling somebody, no matter what it is, the first thing that is the most important thing.
I've been trying to hire someone.
I muted Brandon. The most important thing that I have to do before I go into that situation is I have to get my attitude right. If I woke up in a bad mood, or if I just left a meeting that was bad and I'm about to hop on the phone, I'm about to get into some cold calling, or if I'm about to go meet with an agent or a client or whatever it is, I always want to make sure that I get my attitude right before going into that activity, right? If my attitude's not right, it's going to reflect badly in whatever I'm doing, and is going to ruin everything. And so having that positive attitude, going in there knowing that I'm going in there to help this client, that I am capable of helping this client, that I'm the expert in whatever I'm about to pitch this client, has always proved to be the most beneficial thing before I do anything else, is to 100% get my attitude right before I go into it. What are y'all's thoughts on attitude, and how has this helped y'all out currently or in the past?
Well, I think a positive attitude has a lot to do with your whole mindset as an individual, not just for real estate. When somebody honks at you on the road, some people get raged. I think of a positive attitude. Maybe they're in a hurry, maybe they're on their way to the hospital, and so on. So if you have that mindset of being positive, I think you're on the right track in life, because the mindset is the key to success in my book.
That's right. And that's exactly why we're talking about it. Rick, do you have something?
Yeah, mindset, your attitude will determine what you do. It will determine your actions. When I was managing my real estate office back in Jersey, my agents would come in, they were fearful of this and fearful of that, and I would say, I coined a word. I said, you're awfulizing. The word is awful, which means you're projecting a bad outcome. They're afraid to call because they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid it won't work out. Well, if you can believe that the worst will happen, why can't you believe the best will happen? So if you believe that you're going to win, then you are more likely to do positive things. Your attitude determines what you do, and what you do determines your life, your outcome, and it's a cycle. So important, get your head right, get your head straight. You're worthy. A lot of people don't think that they deserve it. They don't think they're worthy of success. Sometimes they're more afraid of success than failure because they're used to failure. So I can go on and on about this because I used to teach this to my agents, but your attitude determines what you will do, which will determine the outcomes.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick, please go on and on about this. I'm loving it.
You want me to continue?
Absolutely, brother. I couldn't say it better myself.
Okay. Well, if you believe, Henry Ford said, very famous quote, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And another expression is, those people who tell you something can't be done should get out of the way of the people who are doing it. You've got to, number one, it's one thing to set goals for yourself. Everyone sets goals. But then you've got to believe that you deserve it. Now, that was a tough thing for me growing up, because we came from my father died when I was 9. My mother would always tell me, Rich, don't expect too much. Be realistic. People like us don't achieve this. And I've spent my entire life overcoming that. People like us, meaning, we were like the dogs sitting on the table waiting for the crumbs. And if you don't believe that you deserve something, you will sabotage yourself. So it's one thing to write down goals, but then you got to see yourself believing it. And another expression is success upon delivery. So if you were to make, I used to tell my agents, if you were to make 10 phone calls in a day, calling FISBOs, you're calling expireds, it doesn't matter. And you made the calls, and even though you came out of your comfort zone to do it, you were afraid to make the calls, you were authorizing, but you made the calls. And maybe 1 or 2 people were rude to you, but the other people, no one said, hey, come on over, where do I sign? But at the end of those 10 calls, was it a great day or a bad day? No, it was okay. No, it was a great day. It was a wonderful day because you won. Well, who did I beat? Yourself. You were able to make the calls and come out of your comfort zone. If you do that on a consistent level, you're going to win because your income is in direct proportion to how far you can come out of your comfort zone and believe that you deserve the success and the goals that you want. Okay, I'll stop talking because I don't want to monopolize.
No, that's perfect, Rick, and that's exactly why today's topic is on getting our mindset right and having a successful mindset going into real estate and whatever aspect of our life. Let's talk about comfort zones because you ended on that, and that was a great point, right? Your income is, what'd you say, Rick? It's directly proportionate to how far you're willing to get out of your comfort zone.
That's exactly right. In fact, I'm looking at someone sent me a postcard, and I have it hanging on my wall. It says, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone."
That's right. Would you agree that our income is also directly proportionate to the type of problems that we solve? Are we frozen? Rick's probably frozen again. But let's talk.
We gotta solve the Wi-Fi problem, bro.
Let's talk about comfort zones. So I would probably say that everybody in here has done things to get out of their comfort zone. Either they're doing it today, maybe they're speaking up in this meeting. Running these meetings can be uncomfortable. Whether it is cold calling, if you've never cold called before, whether it's doing what Alberto was talking about earlier about constantly looking for leads. It is very important that you continuously get out of your comfort zone and that I continuously push my comfort zone. If I get stagnant and if I get comfortable, I've noticed that I stop growing in whatever area of life I'm trying to work on. And so with real estate, with running businesses, with investments, it's very imperative that I constantly push that comfort zone and I get out of it and I get there and I get uncomfortable and I learn and I grow and I continue to push that. And who here is getting out of their comfort zone right now? Derek, if you're able to unmute yourself, I'm sure that going into this flip was a little bit uncomfortable. It may not have been the norm of what you're used to doing on a daily basis, but I'm sure you've learned a ton, and I'm sure that you've grown a lot from this experience. Are you able to unmute yourself? Maybe not. But who else is doing something right now to get out of their comfort zone?
Me transitioning to real estate.
Okay.
I like the stuff. I'm doing it. I've become more in the role of building the team and building the business, and I'm super comfortable making 100 offers and showing properties and making money for myself. And I love what Rick said. It begins at the comfort zone. It's very uncomfortable for me to pass leads onto our agents. It's a huge commitment, and so it's taking that step back and just making the bet that will work out for how Alex and I are trying to run our business. So that's what I'm doing.
Hey, Matt, what is that? What's it like? So let's say a lead comes in for a condo contract or something like that. And you're like, all right, so I have this. And is your first instinct still to kind of like, I just want to go and work this, even though what you're saying right now is like your comfort zone, what you're trying to break out of in your comfort zone is, learning to pass those on and not work them yourself. So what is that experience like in the moment for you, and how do you wrangle with that? How do you go, How do you get your brain to go from like, this is the path I've been doing to, all right, I'm going to try this other thing. And what does that feel like?
Yeah, it's the classic, don't talk about it, be about it, right? I'm not talking about building this team. I'm being about it. It is uncomfortable. I have a listing right now for $700,000 that it's my in-laws house, so I listed it for them. That's really the only reason. But I had a client call on it to view it, and they're $1 million buyer. Like, they're very approved. And I passed on that lead. I gave it to Christian. You know why I gave it to Christian? Because he's talking about $1 Million Mondays. That's what he's putting out there. And so, yeah, that's 20,000 that I could go make easy, that I know how to do, that I've done 100 times. But it's like, I'm not talking about it. I'm being about it. I've committed to that. And yeah, it's definitely a struggle. Like, that's good money and that's important, but I'm just committing to what I'm saying and actually doing that. Like, you can ask, I don't know if Christian's on this call or not. Yeah, he is. So I gave him that lead. And honestly, I could have said, hey, Christian, you want this lead? We'll work at 50-50. Guess what? I didn't. I just said, this is your lead. And so it's like a huge commitment to building this team and value. And it's not easy, but I just have to do it. So yeah, I'm literally in the middle of it. Like, for the first time ever in 10 years, I'm not going out to show a bunch of properties. And it's not, our business isn't producing a whole bunch of money every month. So it's a big sacrifice, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take on everyone on the team and on Alex and on our vision and our goal.
Thanks, man. I love it.
Gustavo, let's if you're still in here, let's talk about sharpening our skills. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was, am I outworking my competition? And do I even want to compete, or do I want to dominate with what I'm trying to do? And what am I doing when nobody's looking, right? So at midnight, am I perfecting my cold call script? Am I putting lists together to cold call in the morning as soon as business hours hit? On Saturday and Sunday, am I not working on my business, or am I getting better while everybody else is relaxing? And so I think that this is very important, and it's not something that I really even think about too much. It's not something that I have to convince myself of, like, no, I don't want to go have fun. I need to be working on my business to get ahead. It's something that, it's not a question that comes to mind, because working on my business, perfecting these skills, getting ahead, and doing things for the long-term vision is what's fun to me, right? Like, this is my focus. This is what I'm working on. And I wouldn't rather be doing anything else except for getting better, being better, getting ahead, building the business, putting things in place. This type of stuff is fun to me. And so, what type of things are you doing, Gustavo, to build your skills and perfect your skills and get better every single day, when you could be relaxing or doing other things?
So one of the skills that I've been working on the most is my script, more for like off-market properties, because every conversation is different. If you're talking to a buyer, it's a different conversation versus if you were to talk to a seller. If you're talking to a traditional seller versus an off-market seller, it's going to be different. If you're talking to someone who wants to lease an apartment, it's going to be different. So I've been sharpening my skill set in talking to off-market leads. I actually invested $500 on a sales training program, got the scripts, and I've been role-playing in the mornings either with Damien or with Lupe. And, I want to help them out too. Like, I want them to grow, but it honestly helps me out too. It's kind of for selfish reasons too. It helps me practice my script. And I actually have fun with it now. It's like a sport. Like, I actually want to talk to someone who's motivated, who gives me a yes, I want to sell, or a maybe, so that I can go through my script and find out if they're really motivated or if they're just like talking mess. And if they are motivated, then I want to take it to the next part where we actually start talking about money, and I know I'm going to have to bring them down. Every time, most of the time, whenever you're talking to an off-market lead, for a wholesale or a flip, you're going to have to get a discount. So, like, I've been working on that, and I actually have fun with it on the phone now. I even sound way different. I was role-playing with Damien the other day.
Let me stop you real quick and ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because what you just said is very important to understand, and for people who haven't gotten to that point to hear is you basically just said that you practiced and you learned and you perfected your cold call script to the point to where it's not uncomfortable anymore. You're an expert at it. You're able to run through the script. You're able to talk to a seller. You're able to control the conversation and direct it to figure out exactly what you need to know, and you're in control of it, right? And so I'm sure at a point in time, it wasn't fun to go through that, and you probably felt like you didn't know what you were doing, right? But
Exactly.
now that you're equipped with these skills, you're able to run through that script. You're able to control the conversation. Your attitude is right. You're able to get the results that you desire, or move on and not waste time on a lead that's not going to produce a result to go find that lead that will.
And it's fun. I've been watching the Michael Jordan documentary again, and it's kind of like, imagine just short Jordan working on his jump shot in practice, and then he goes to a real game and he gets to deliver that shot, right? It's the same way with the script. I role play in the morning, and then whenever I'm on the phone, I just, come on, man, just that one seller who I get a chance to do my script with, whether I get the deal or not. I just want to take my shot. It's so much fun, and you could hear it. I could hear it in my voice. Like, I was talking to Damien, and he was like, man, like you have like, you sound real smooth on the phone. Like it's because I'm having fun with it. Like, I try to be suave, like be smooth on the phone. And it's not only like your skill in selling, like marketing. It's a whole different skill, and a skill that I haven't even mastered yet, right? So you always got to be working on your skills, whatever you feel is going to help you get paid, because that's what we want to do. We want to get paid, right? Whatever you think is going to help you get paid the fastest.
That's right. And talking about that Jordan documentary, that game-winning shot was not won. That game was not won, and that shot was not made in that last 3 seconds. It was made in the 50,000 hours of taking that shot and practicing that shot before he took it. Right.
Yeah.
Consistency, Christian. You had touched on consistency. And you touched on how Matt's always bringing this up. Be consistent, do things. What are you going through right now, and what have you been experiencing with consistency that you feel has led to some success and has contributed to a successful mindset?
Yeah, for sure. And going back, to what Matt said, he did send me that lead, and I'm very grateful for that. I wouldn't have had that lead without him. And having that consistency of those Monday millions and showing myself out there and being in that market is what, had me on his mind for that buyer. And, and maybe he won't buy in the next month, but, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, maybe we can get him something, and, have him, have him as a buyer. But with the consistency and coming out of my comfort zone, I don't come from money. And so going around these $1 million neighborhoods, being in that atmosphere, it was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I know that that's where I want to be in my future. And I want to be comfortable in that area and in that atmosphere, and just being consistent with posting these videos, attributing my name with those types of listings and those type of clientele it's been cool, being able to see how it's grown every week, and having people, associate me with that has been awesome.
And the consistency has paid off, yeah?
Absolutely. And on top of that, doing, calling expireds every day, finding new leads from that way as well. It's just getting new interest in the pipeline from every aspect, just do consistent work.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that. It's just putting yourself out there, right? Like the fact, like he said, that's who I thought of, because that's what he's doing every day. He's looking at $1 million properties, and there's something, not to get too, I don't know, spiritual or whatever, but you start putting yourself out there and making your intentions known, and things start happening. They just do. So you have to just constantly go at it, and he's marketing himself that way. It's not easy for him to go out there and make a video every week. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. And, it's amazing to me. It's like once you get plugged in that segment specifically, like you get one listing and those are the buyers that are calling it. And then those are the buyers that you start working with. So it just starts compounding. And I'm super excited for him. And I love seeing him be consistent with that. It's, so I try to reward that how I can, and so I'm pumped up for Christian there.
Alberto, do you mind unmuting and talking about expanding on what you mentioned earlier about constantly looking for leads and how that has contributed to a successful mindset?
Sure. So I haven't personally experienced it yet, but I was kind of inactive first a year and a half, but I got my license a year and a half ago. And recently I was a UT student. I just graduated. So I was mostly doing kind of part-time work with just friends and working with referrals there on West Campus. But I noticed some people were still getting a bunch of leads and getting a bunch of deals. And those guys, I kind of spoke with them. And what they were doing is just being proactive about, getting exposure, as much exposure as they could in different Facebook groups or just with different friends or fraternities or so just kind of like I said, being proactive and not kind of waiting on people to refer you out to their friends. So because of that, I actually just started an Instagram page and kind of getting out of my comfort zone. I haven't really ever built an Instagram page and not done much marketing in general. So just reading a bunch on how to market yourself, how to promote yourself, and some cool strategies on Instagram and kind of working through that. So so what I was speaking about was kind of what I had learned from other people that were doing well, not necessarily because I had experienced it myself, but I'm looking to give it a try and yeah.
Well, it's necessary, man. Thank you for sharing that. And obviously the people that were telling you that, they're successful and they know what they're talking about, and it is necessary. I mean, Matt receives a bunch of leads, right, that people send to him, but it's because he put, 100,000 hours of work into building those relationships and building that name that everybody knows. I can call Matt and I can figure out how to solve the problem that I have, right? And so he has done what you're talking about, Alberto, whether it's through building relationships like that, whether it's through social media marketing, whether it is through calling for sell by owners, expired listings. I don't know about you guys, but, no one has really ever handed me something substantial or worth something without putting any effort on my part. It's never just landed in my lap. No one's ever just handed me the keys to a kingdom. I haven't ever gotten what I wanted just by sitting there and waiting for it to happen through osmosis, right? I've had to put the work in to go out and get the desired result. And what you're talking about, Alberto, is true. Like if your goal is to get more leads, like ask myself, what did I do today to achieve that result? Did I go out there and market on Instagram? Did I do my Monday Millions video? Did I reach out to expired listings? Did I reach out to for sale by owners? Did I call people in my phone book and just check in and see what they're doing? Did I go to some networking meetings? Did I buy someone coffee? Did I buy someone lunch? What action am I putting in to achieve the results that I want, right? It's required to put that work in constantly with whatever you're trying to achieve. And revenue drives businesses. It's the first thing you see on an income statement, and it is the one thing that drives businesses. You don't have revenue, you don't have a business, right? So you got to go out there and you got to get leads, and you got to figure out a way to start bringing money in as an agent or with whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's simple, guys. I mean, we're gonna keep doing this and keep talking about the same stuff and adding new value and new concept and new ideas. But if you're also struggling, you got to be reaching out to Alex and myself as well, because we don't know. And one thing I thought of this concept today, and it's are you going to a job or are you trying to make money? And I want to kind of clarify this. If you just go to a job to get a paycheck, you're just going to a job. But you can go to a job with an intent of making money, right? So let's just say you work at McDonald's. Well, I've never worked there, but I would imagine if I did work there and I wanted to learn the business, learn, what does it mean when the frozen food comes in? Where do we get it from? How long does it sit there? How can we make this place more profitable? How can I make the team be better? How can I, be more efficient on cleaning the place? If you're looking at business that way, you're going to go in there at McDonald's or wherever, and you're going to figure out new ways to make money, maybe for the company or whatever it is, and you're going to move up. If you're just going to a job to show up and collect the paycheck, then you're just going to a job. You're not doing anything. You're not providing any value, and you're not going above and beyond and like learning. There's a lot of moving parts on every type of business, and very few people think that way. Very few people think I'm going to go and figure out how we can make this the most profitable McDonald's in Austin, Texas. And the thing is, if you do that and you think that way, there's a good chance you're going to be moving up the chain and start getting into the corporate side. And that's just one kind of small example, but you got to just be thinking differently, thinking long-term. Find, like Alex said, go after every one of those types of leads. Are you doing coffee? Are you doing Instagram, et cetera, et cetera? What are you doing that's new? What are you doing that's creative? What are you trying and failing at? And it's just constant. It's like we always say, we're in the same boat. I do this every day. Try something new. And even to me, nothing's given to me. I have to make all these calls. I had 4 people at my house yesterday constantly, and I was meeting with them, and I looked at my phone. I had 127 emails. Well, I stayed up till 1 a.m. answering all those emails, back up at 5. And it's just freaking hardcore. If you want to go at that level, it's what it takes.
Yeah, and I'd like to. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I'd like to touch on that a little bit more. And this also kind of goes back to what Rick was talking about earlier with no limits, and what Matt was just touching on is the fact that I don't know about you guys, but there's been plenty of times where I have fallen victim to this. It's where I feel like there's greener grass somewhere else. And I feel like maybe I need to start doing this completely different service in a completely different industry to bring in some more revenue. However, if I would have just doubled down on exactly what I was doing, on exactly where I was at, I could have tripled or quadrupled my revenue instead of diverting my focus somewhere else. Right. And I think this is what Matt was talking about, whether you're a W-2 employee or whether you have, you're a real estate agent, you're running your own business. What are you doing to think outside the box and to take advantage of 100% of the opportunities that are in front of you? For that McDonald's employee, the opportunities, may be limited to a certain extent. However, the possibilities aren't. And if they're just focusing on flipping that burger and they weren't focusing on the other things that he was talking about, they're never going to see what could have been if they would have ventured into how to be better at what they're currently doing and how they can make more money with the exact same, while being in the exact same spot that they're at. And it's very important to dive into those and to double down on what we're doing and to always try and get better and to always look for other possibilities, how to be different, how to be more efficient, and how to bring in more revenue with, being in the exact same spot that we're currently in.
That's a great way to put it, Alex. I like that. And, we have so much going on with our company. Just to reiterate, we have a TRE construction, TRE wholesaling, TRE capital, and TRE leasing and the brokerage. These are all aspects of the business that everyone here can be making money on, right? I mean, you have the ability to be the Austin real estate resource like we're trying to become and get us these, like if you get us these leads for these things, we're going to make sure you get paid. That's the whole concept. And bringing on new agents, like it's all literally here for everyone to go take advantage of it. But you've got to be reaching out and you've got to be getting us some leads. You have to be talking to us, letting us know what you want to do. If you're fine with only doing one thing, that's great as well. We're totally happy with that. The only thing we don't want is for people on our team to be wanting more and to not be getting it, because to me, that's just an excuse. I've got Jordan up here right now. He was on our call last week. I literally gave him a list, and I've given 5 other people. Jordan's been cold calling for 3 days straight, and he's got 4 leads. We're going to look at 2 properties today, and it's just like, wow, that's amazing. So just keep that in mind. We have the infrastructure for everyone here to utilize to where we can all, like we say, grow together.
Last thing I want to touch on is falling in love with the process. And so, not getting attached to instant gratification, and not getting attached to, if I cold call for one day, like I have to get some results or I'm not going to cold call again. Or, like Gustavo was talking about, or like Rick Stein was talking about, if at the beginning of all this, Rick, if you want to unmute yourself here in a second, we'd love for you to, because what you were talking about was very important. When he was running his brokerage and his agents, maybe they didn't get any leads from the cold calls they were doing that day. And he would ask them, was it a good day or was it a bad day? And they'd say, I don't know. And he'd say, no, it's a great day, right? It's because you got to learn to fall in love with that process, that process of growing, that process of learning, that process of constantly getting better, that process of constantly adjusting your mindset to get the results that you desire and to achieve the results. They're not just gonna fall in your lap. Like you've got to continuously try and get better. You've got to continuously readjust that mindset when a deal falls through, when you get told no 1,000 times when you're cold calling people. It's about moving on to the next one and learning from it and continuously growing. What you got for us, Rick? Are you frozen again?
Oh, I'm still here. Well, someone, I forget who it was, but on a previous call, someone said they do cold calling and they find it like scratching off lottery tickets. Each one you scratch off that doesn't give you anything, you're one closer to one that will. But I always found that I had to feel good about myself. If I'm driving to work when I was an agent before I was a manager, and there are a couple of FSBOs, I wrote down the number. I said, I'm going to call them. And then it's lunchtime, and I keep making excuses why I don't call them. Oh, now it's not a good time, whatever, and I don't call them. At the end of the day, I don't feel very good about myself because I knew I should have. But if I get to the office and I'll make another analogy. I love analogies. It's like taking off a Band-Aid. How is it easiest to take it off? You could take it off centimeter by centimeter and go, ouch, 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 or just rip it off and there's one big ouch and you're done. I used to tell my agents, you don't learn how to swim by walking around the pool. You've got to get in there. So those 2 FSBOs, so you call them, both of them tell you to drop dead. You could have, probably wouldn't have it, but it could. Okay, that's their problem if they're going to be that rude to you. I was a professional. I called them. I was very professional over the phone. They were rude. Doesn't matter. I made the call. I can move on, and it's not perseverating. It's not dominating my brain. I'm done. I don't have to call them anymore. There's plenty more out there. So it's success upon delivery. You do what you got to do, and you detach yourself from the outcome. Yes, you want a good outcome, but if you don't, that doesn't mean you failed. Failure, here's another cliche. I'm sorry about all these cliches, but failure is an event. It's not a person. You tried, it didn't work out, but you didn't give up, so therefore you're not a failure. Okay, I could talk forever, so I'll stop.
I like that. That's good. It's an event, not a person. Collecting no's. That's right. And also to what Rick said, it's that long-term mindset of knowing that maybe the lead's not going to close now, but maybe you have some good notes and you can figure out something later. So store that and come back to it.
That's right. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share their experience on for a successful mindset, or any questions before we get out of here?
Opportunity City, baby. Everyone get after it. Call me, call Alex, call anyone. Let's go hustle today.
All right, guys. Let us know if y'all need anything. We will see you guys tomorrow for the leasing training, and then also on Friday for the investor training. Please reach out if you have anything. And I think it was I just want to reiterate one more time that I think it was very important to discuss this type of stuff today, because this is the type of successful mindset, mental attitude that is required to go in and put in all that work that's required to get the result.
Yep. And don't forget, reach out to OC. You need stuff to do for leasing, reach out to OC. There's a lot of leads there to be taken.
Yep. All right, guys. Y'all have a good day. Let us know if y'all need anything.